Hello, it's Joe Glines, and I am creating my first tutorial on Python, and so bear with me. Keep in mind I'm not a programmer, and I only pretend to be one on my day job. But especially with Python, I've been using AutoHotkey for a long time. But and actually in AutoHotkey, I've written some menus, and so these are menus that and this will give you an example here. It'll output Python code for me, so I can use it and give me examples. But what I've been playing with lately is my debugging stuff, which I find very handy to have, especially being new to Python. That this should have been the very first thing I did, and it wasn't. But lately, I've got some stuff I thought was worth sharing here. So here we go. I want to give you an example. So here are just some examples of where I'm creating. This is a string, a tuple, a list, dictionary, a set, and then another variable. And I've just preset these so I can demonstrate some of my code here. And so under debugging, first off, if you're using Windows and you deal with installing, especially on different computers as well, or just starting different versions, or you install Python and then you install another module or a package that has a lot of other things including Python, and it changes your default directory and stuff, it can be very confusing to try to figure out where your Python is actually running. So I have this one, which, and you can see here, it dumps it out here, and so now when I run, and I'm going to run my whole script. This is site, by the way, that I'm using here, but you can do it from the command prompt or whatever. And this will show me, here's my actual where I have Python installed, so it's to my B drive under progs, Python 27, Anaconda, and here's the executable. It's 32-bit, and then these are some of the paths that the Python stuff has. It knows where to look. Right, so that was all from this little bit of code here. So let me get rid of that, and I'm just going to show you. So if I run this, right, there's nothing here. It executes, but there's nothing printing or anything, so there's no output. And if I go back into debugging, let's say I thought I knew that, like this. I thought this was a tuple, right? Instead of, but it in reality, I mean, I know it's a string because here, at least when I wrote it, I called it a string. But this code, it's pretty cool, is that I can come in here and say, oh, what variables? So the global, right, this globals, it'll look for things everywhere in your script. Now the one I have below this one is local variables and their types, right? But this one is the globals, and so whether it's inside a function or outside, it'll look everywhere and list all the variables, what's in the variable, and then the data type that it is. So in this example here, for which one was I doing? The string. So Stooge's string. So that's dict, tuple, Stooge's string. It shows me what's in the variable, and then it says, oh, that's a string, right? My tuple variable, right? If I come down here and find my tuple, Stooge's tuple, this is what's in the variable, right? And oh, lo and behold, it is a tuple. My set, let's see. Oh yeah, good. It's called as a set. My list is a list, right? So especially if you were thinking that you had something a little bit different, and let me actually, you know what? Let me add h equals 3, I equals 34.2, and y equals. I guess I don't need another one, but yeah, let's just leave it at that. Now I'm going to rerun this, and so see my h. Right, my h equals 3, and it's telling me it's an integer, right? Well, what if I thought that was actually a float, like here the I, right, 43.2, and it's a float. So this is just a nice, quick, easy way that that I can go find out what they are. Now there's obviously nothing, you know, glamorous or secret about this, other than it's nice that it goes through and does all the globals. But building these into a menu where I have these at the tip of my fingers, right, and I can pop them, is very helpful. The locals one, I'm not going to. I'll show you the code just so you can see it. But it doesn't do anything different. And actually, if we run it, you'll see. Now it's of course confusing. Let me comment those out. Rerun it. If, like I said, if we had functions that would show you the stuff inside that function but not outside, that's my understanding at least. But the globals is what I use by far, because I don't really care, for my level of program right now, I don't care whether it's in a function or not. I just need to know the type and what actually is being held in it, because sometimes it's not what you think it is. Okay, so structure and shape. So this one is pretty cool. This is actually, this struct shape was from this Think Python book that I read through, which was pretty good overall, gave me a really good intro. And he made this module, this module and this command, I don't know what they call them, but you can download. And so when I run it now, and I've pre-configured, I put in my var, and I'm consistent in all my code, so this my var, when I run it, it's similar to the other stuff, but it only returns like this one variable instead of everything. And it tells me, like this one variable, it has a string, an integer, and a float. That is I should have said it's a tuple having a string, an integer, and a float. Right? This is pretty cool. So let's say I put this var here and rerun it, and so it says it's a dictionary of 3. I guess that I hadn't thought about it, but that's string and string for each one, and I would bet you money here if I put this as a number. Let's see what happens. Sticks of 3 string and integer string, so maybe it's not exactly clear on it, but anyway, it helps you understand. It's similar to the other one. It helps you understand the data types, what's available, especially if you have a bunch of them where you just want to hone in on one. This is it's a little simpler. Alright, so let's get rid of that. Debugging. Here's my interactive mode in sight. This is a little bit more of when I want to test something, but I can, so this, and I think it works in basically any editor, that I can run here, and notice now suddenly see this command prompt down here, and so I can come down here and say print hello world, and it works interactively in here as the command shell, so I don't have to go up to my command shell. So if I have something very simple I want to try and see what it's returning, I can just do it here, and then I've set it up where I can just hit this and it'll stop executing. And this, by the way, I learned just because I like having things on one line if I can help it. So I import code, and then this code interact. That's what's actually getting it to call it to be interactive. But that's another handy one. And then display documentation. So and I should have tested this because I haven't used this one in a while, but I know my module's not going to work. But let me see if I think if I put in a variable here, like let me put in my this thing that's a tuple, and I think Python is smart enough to say, oh, help on tuple object, right? Because it looked at what this var was, and as we saw earlier, this is a tuple, and it gave me help around what I can do with a tuple, right? Which yes, I could have typed in help, and once I remember this, I won't have to call it my menu anymore, right? Because I can still type help, and let's just say H, and it's probably going to be help with integers. Let's get rid of this one and rerun it. Yeah, so class integer, and shows you some of the methods, and I'm blanking on the other one, the methods and the properties, if there are properties available. So, like I said, that one, Lord knows I should remember that one pretty soon, but it's just nice having it in here, so I don't have to remember code, right? And I'm a terrible typist, so I can just pop in here, display help via browser. This one's kind of cool, is I can run it here, and let me bring this over here. It gave me this command shell window, and I could type something in here, like let's say print, and it's going to go search through some stuff, but the second I hit open browser, it opens the help in the browser format, which just for me is a little bit easier on the eye, and I can navigate. Now this is a local server, right, running from my computer with the help documentation. And let's see, because like I have pandas installed, and I thought, that's funny, I don't see it here. I guess I had to have been in the right level, but I can click on anything, right, and navigate around, and it's just a little bit more user-friendly than the other help I was showing a minute ago. And when I'm done with it, I can close here. Well, sorry. I can hit quit serving, I think, or I can close this, or I can close this. Any of these kills the script. I can see this exit code, and so I know it's done. So that's the help HTML version. And then this last one, which I still need to work on it, because it only, I realized the other day, it only shows me for things that I've installed with pip, right? But it is, I hope at some point, going to be pretty handy, because I can look at the modules and their version, right, that I have installed. But I know, because on Pandas I upgraded to version 15. That's actually interesting. This DEV here, this wasn't here the other day, and when I first ran it, it was said version 13, and then I tried upgrading, and it didn't want to upgrade to even 14. And then I finally used, I downloaded the install raw in file from GitHub and processed it, and I got version 15 installed. But this is still saying 14. But I think maybe there's hope. This DEV here, maybe it really isn't 15. It's a 14.1 development thing or something. So maybe it is right. But it's a nice, quick, handy way to figure out, hey, do I have what is my latest version of NumPy or SciPy or whatever I'm working on, right? In that, what I found is when I'm on Stack Overflow or something, and people say they, are using code, sometimes, if I'm lucky, they'll put what version of the module it is, if they even mention the module in the first place. But being able to go check this without having to do a lot of work, again, having pre-built these menus makes it much easier. And so, and I'll just give you an example here on some of my other stuff. So let's say what I've been doing is, like on lists, I can say, oh, I need to concatenate a list, right? And it'll give me an example that I can then go tweak right into what I need. But again, this is with auto hotkey I'm using to build my menus. It's not, I would not recommend it for an intro person. I can tell you that. But once you get in the habit of it, it's pretty easy. And boy, is it convenient to put things at the tips of your fingers to allow you to have code, especially when you're learning a new language, to give you that example to go, oh yeah, this is how I do it. I don't have to go find that script where when I was playing with it before and learned how to use it, and use that example, right, I just build it into this menu, and then once I have it, it's super quick for me to go through and do that. Anyway, thank you.